afternoon, everyone. I'm deeply honored to be here, not because only for this limelight, but because I believe that every story needs to be shared, especially those stories which are formed in the classroom, in between the chalks, dusters, in between the conversations, and between the computer classes. I have been a computer teacher for the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, I have guided my students through arrays, loops, database, iterations, and sometimes existential crisis. In these 10 years, I have learned that education is not in the lesson plan. It is not in the textbook. Education, the real education happens when there is unexpected bugs are coming, when there is unasked questions which the students ask, the long silence that prevails, or the bond that we create. So you might think that she is a computer teacher, she is great with systems. Believe me, they were also saying my hands were shaking. Why? Because I get nervous when I'm asked to speak. That's why I am standing here. Because I thought that my past 10 years, the bond that we have built, my experience with my students, my teachers, all the past 10 years teachers I have been deeply connected to, still I am in connection with them, that stories need to be told. That stories need to be, you should hear that stories need to be felt seen. So here I am standing, not to only perform. It's not a performance, it's for me a sharing my 10 years. From where I started to where I am and what I have learned, what you students have taught me. So as told, I started my first computer classes in 2015. I walked into my classroom well prepared, too excited, being the teacher for the first time with perfectly designed lesson plan, a pen drive having all those PPTs, whatever screenshots are needed, resources, everything were there. And with a marker in my hand. I walked straight into my class. I started my lesson. I was wise. I was trying to be confident. Suddenly, I noticed at the back, a couple of students were gossiping. So, what a any teacher will do, I walked straight towards them. I pointed at one. Please stand up. Why are you laughing? What is your name? That student stood up, smiled, and said, my name is Shah Rukh Khan. I was stunned. And yes, the whole class burst into laughter. I do check the notebook though, and it comes out that the parents have actually named the student Shah Rukh Khan. And sitting beside him was Akshay Kumar. So as you can see, my first classroom started in a class full of Bollywood royalties, where I delivered computers. But that day, or throughout that session from 2015, I learned something. That we don't have to be strict with our students all this time. We can laugh with them. They can surprise us. We can learn so many things from our students. Before that, when I joined as a teacher, I thought teaching means finishing syllabus, checking the copies, being updated, guiding them, allowing them for the test, scoring for the test, but till retirement we have to do the same. My students, they had other plans. Not only they learned from me, they taught me. Throughout my career, I have learned so many things. So what they taught me, they challenged my thoughts about teaching. They made me think that what is my process, what new way can be done. And from them, I realized that the lessons is not the textbooks. The lessons are the questions they ask, the curiosity they shows, all those unspoken answers which they think that with raising hands they can get. So here I am to share those lessons, few of those lessons which my students have taught me. And as I have divided them into 4 parts, I would like to talk about each with my experience about that. So those 4 lessons, I like to call them the hidden curriculum, which we teachers follow. We try to follow, we try to inculcate in our classes, and you students, you all are still doing, you are all teaching me those things. So what are those? As I say, it's curiosity, it's empathy, it's equity, it's adaptability. These 4 things I have taken from my students. Let's talk about curiosity. We always say that there is always correct answer, correct answer, correct answer. Yes, there are always correct answer. But Throughout these years, I have learned, I have believed now that curiosity is always greater than the correct answer. Let's give few examples. Few common questions of my students. Ma'am, if Google knows everything, why do we need teachers? Or, does computer really have bugs? Do they have insects inside? And my personal favorite one, which I really like when my students ask me that. If AI will overtake, if AI will be smarter than the humans in future, will they be kinder towards us? Will they learn empathy? So you see, those questions will never come in any exam. They are not in our syllabus. But those questions is where actual education, actual learning happens. It starts. Sometimes we have done that in the race of syllabus completion, we have just run through the syllabus, we have brushed off these questions, like speed bumps. These are extra questions, speed bumps, we don't have time. Wrong. I have realized through my teaching career that when the students are asking these questions, they are thinking something extra. So now I ask, after the chapter is over, do you have any new questions? Or where your mind sidetracked, you thought of something else? Or what more creativity can you show from this? What I have learned is the actual lesson plan is not in the books, in what we are writing. It's about the curiosity that the students are providing to us. And in the curiosity, the actual lesson happens. The lesson begins, the lesson ends there when our students are curious. Let's talk about the second one, empathy. A strong word, really. So before going into that empathy, I would like to share a small experience which happened in my previous school. One of a very bright student, they are doing assignments. I found that that boy was submitting the assignments late. He was not doing, or if doing, it was incomplete, mostly practical works. He was submitting the assignments late. I thought he was being lazy. I was wrong. What I did at that time, I diagnosed the problem instead of debugging it. We need to debug the problem. So then I thought, in a practical class, I sat down beside him. I asked, I inquired. Turns out, there is only one laptop, and that too, when his father returns, it is shared with him and his siblings. So you see, I was wrong. He was not being lazy, he was being resourceful, as he used to wait till late night to finish the assignments. And that made me realize something. Empathy towards a teacher, towards a student as a teacher should not be only on the outcome. We are so output driven, but empathy should be in the situation of the student, in whatever access they are having. So when we acknowledge the student, we have empathize with them, they feel seen. And when our students feel seen, they are present in a class, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally too. We feel the connections. So as a teacher, I have always believed that the true lessons is not in the book once again. It is in how we deal a situation. And a best student is not only who gives the output, but who overcomes the problems, the situations with our aid to give the perfect output. The next part. To know about the next part, I always love to call that as hands-on activity which the computer students do, we computer teachers also do, in a hands-off situation. So, hands-off situation, what can that be? What is that? You all remember during pandemic what happened? 2019, 20, 21 came the pandemic and the whole classroom shrank into small screens. Being a computer teacher, I question how? How to deliver my lessons when the tools are not even present. All are not having access to the tools, to the requirements. What to do? But then I thought that it's all about adaptability, and which is my next lesson. I learned that even if the situation is not in our favor, we teachers can always try to be adaptive. The students have taught me how to be adaptive in any situations. So what we started doing? We started doing flowcharts, algorithms in papers, in chart papers, and the students used to hold them in front of the cameras. Some were scribbled, some were crumpled at the end, but the students never forgot how to run a flowchart. What else we did? We did dry run of the test. The students in online classes, they become the variables throughout the iterations. Even few of the students showed a stick paper as a counter variable. The whole class, definitely we laughed, we enjoyed, but one thing we learned, that how to dry run, and my students never forgot that. So that was a great lesson for me, how to be adaptive in any situation. Now also we are doing online classes. What I do in chat box, do. If I show a code, I ask my students write in the chat box. They just rush to type in the chat box. And what happens? We get the best outcomes in those chat box, because those are the unseen text, unseen lessons they are learning. That what if some surprise test, surprise code will come in front of them. So that is about adaptability. And as I say, in a hands-on lesson can be done with hands-off situation, where we don't have our hands on the tools. Coming to my next, let me talk about equity. Equity is what we understand, that providing all the situation, all the students equal situations, equal benefits, everything. As of now, we understood that. But what I have learned is entirely different. To understand that, let me walk you back through a story. So only in this online classes, I found that one of the girl kept dropping off. During the answers, her mic got disconnected, her video paused. I thought she was skipping the lessons. She don't know the answers, she was skipping the lessons. I gave a call afterwards. The parents said that she was having her online classes from a small spare room beside the rooftop where the Wi-Fi is the strongest. So you see, a weak Wi-Fi doesn't mean a weak student, right? Because she was eager to do the classes. Another example. A student used to do all the assignments in mobile phone and submit. So you might think that he has this knack for mobile phones. He is addicted to mobile phones. No. Again, it turned out that there was no laptop at his house, and during the pandemic, the mobile phone was the only source. So then I thought that equity is not about giving every student every kind of suggestions, situations, every kind of positive situations. Equity is about giving exactly what they need to shine. As a computer teacher, I have always believed in this. For a student to excel, they must have access first. I hope you get Excel access. Second thing, what I have believed, for a student to shine, the light must reach them. What we can do, or what I have done till my 10 years, I have adjusted the brightness for them to show that yes, equity is possible in any situation. What can we do, or what I do? Do you need more time to finish this? Do I need to break down the problems for you? Do you need that half of the assignment will be done today, half will be done later? Or do you need some kind of assistance in practical? You can come down when I am free, we will be there to assist. So whenever I have done it in a modular part as a function, I have seen the better results, the better outcome from the students. One incident I would like to share. That's when, that was the time when I was as very rigid teacher, that whatever parameters I have said, the students have to perform accordingly. So once I gave a coding assignment to my students, and I set few rubrics, I set few bullet points, I set few parameters. These are to be followed to make the program run. What happened? One student gave the code and I was shocked. There was no proper commenting in the program. There was no proper variable naming even. The student has not followed proper indentation also. So I was first to deduct points. Like just a compiler throws errors, I was faster to deduct points even more than the compiler. But then I thought, let's run it. And when I run the code, I was surprised. Not only the code ran, but it was done in fewer steps than I thought was possible. So as you can see, the student actually outshined. He excelled. I called the student and I asked, why you have not followed my parameters? Your code is perfect, you have done well. Why you have not followed it? He said, ma'am, I had to wait late night for my father to return to finish it. As you can see, there was only one resource and he finished it in late night with the minimum access that he had. And that profound moment, I thought that it's not only about having the access to the tools, that even if they are having the access to the tools, they might not have proper access to the time, to the space, to the situation. That's when I questioned myself. Am I only grading the outstanding performances, the outcomes, or am I grading the efforts also? That changed me. Now I am not that rigid one ki you have to follow exactly what I say. You can bend it. That the student did. He didn't disobey. He just bent the things as per his situation and he outshined himself. Which taught me that equity is not about only having resources. It's about having the situation how well you can do. Nowadays, I ask my students when anyone has not finished the work, what happened? Was it tough or was the environment tougher? Do you need more time or do you need fewer distractions? If you need fewer distractions, you can come to my free period in computer lab or anywhere you can finish. If you need resources, I am there. Google is there to help you. Computer lab is there to help you with any kind of resources. So that is equity. And slowly when I realized these four things, that is our curiosity of the students, empathy towards them, the equitability, and the adaptability, I realized that there is more to our lessons, our students, than just the books. So, after 10 years, I have realized that we are not preparing students for the exam. We are not only teaching them definitions, algorithms, flowcharts, mathematical equations, scientific calculations. We are not preparing for the exams. We are teaching them the hidden curriculum. We are teaching them how to be curious, how to ask, how to show empathy towards their friends, how we teachers can show empathy towards them, how to adapt in any situation. Many times I have seen that out of the respect, out of the love, they have done so many things which we never tried. My students used to write in Bengali to wish me, which they never knew. But since I was that, they did that. And I thought, can I learn a new language at this moment? Can I do that? They inspired. They made me think that if they can do, we can also do. That was a great learning moment for me. So if you ask, in these 10 years, what I have achieved as a teacher, I will not say that I have been the best teacher. I have been a great teacher teaching perfect computer science to the students. I will not say that I am that teacher who has finished all the courses, all the syllabus in time, or I have perfectly taught them arrays, database, learnings, and iterations, functions. No. I will tell all that in the 10 years, I have learned the algorithm of life. My students, my colleagues, situations, any remote situations like the pandemic, any adverse situation has taught me the connections that we build in those situations, the experience that we gain in any adverse situation, the life of coding. So I will say that my students have changed my teaching code throughout these 10 years. And today, I came here to share that. I came here to thank them for giving me that opportunity, that space, that scope. I can also grow, not as a teacher, but as a person. A student changed that. Not only we learn, we teach them, we learn from them. From a teacher, from a student, from a situation. So this platform was a great opportunity to share with you all. And before going, I would like to say only one thing. The best lesson starts after the syllabus is over or when the books are closed. The best classroom teaching happens outside the classrooms where we interact, we bond, we share, we connect. And that's me before you with sharing all the stories. Thank you all.